Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Justyn and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I lost 50 pounds in 4 months. This has been very long overdue and long awaited. I've been receiving so many questions about what I did, how I'm doing it, like tips and tricks, all that. So I decided to kind of compile it all into this video. For those who are new here on my channel, welcome. My name is Justyn and I'm currently on a weight loss journey. I'm actually making this video a little bit after the fact. So as of right now, I've lost almost 60 pounds, but I did want to go ahead and put it out there how I lost the 50 pounds in 4 months. So I've got my little notebook here and I've kind of compartmentalized everything into 10 tips that I can give you guys. So these are in no particular order. As I was trying to arrange them, I kind of found out that these all pretty much work collectively, like one isn't more important than the other. So without further ado, let's get right on into it. So up first is changing my mindset. Now, although I said that these are in no particular order, I definitely felt like this one is key because this one is what affects all of the other ones, and this is truly where it all starts. When people say it's like 90% mental, they are not lying. It's so much more of a mental game. Like, you have to have your head on right in order to lose weight, and now I do. And honestly, once I got focused, it was very easy for me to stay focused. It's almost like it took so long to get in the zone. I mean, we're talking like 6 years here. It took me so long to get there, but once I was there, like, I'm in it. So the mindset is something that is kind of hard to teach because, you know, you can't really tell somebody how to think and how to control their own mind. And, you know, the mind is so intricate and complex, like you can't really teach someone how to do that. How I do things now is so different from how I did them like 5 months ago. And how I think about things now is way more different, which is probably most important. Number 2 is joining Weight Watchers. Now, for all my Weight Watchers people out there watching, what's up? I see you. But for all of the people who don't do Weight Watchers or don't know anything about it, please don't click out of this video yet, because this is not about to be about Weight Watchers. I am gonna make a whole bunch of other videos just strictly about Weight Watchers, but the reason I wanted to bring that up in this video is not Weight Watchers itself, but it's more so finding a program that works for me and is sustainable for me. I tried so many different things time and time again. I did keto, I did trying to count my calories, I did damn near starving myself, I did like these green smoothie things. Like, I have done a lot of stuff, and I can 100% tell you I've never found something that works for me the way Weight Watchers works for me. For me, finding a program that was sustainable for me was definitely key because, you know, they have a lot of different stuff out here. Like, the weight loss industry, I'm sure, is $1 billion industry. They have pills, they have, you know, detox teas and stuff. They have all of this stuff that you could try to do to lose weight, but honestly, when it comes down to it, you have to be the one who's willing to do it. And honestly, it has to be something that you know is gonna last for a long time. For me now, being on Weight Watchers, I know I could do Weight Watchers the rest of my life and I'm good. Like, I'm not on it like a diet where I'm like, ooh, 20 more days and then I'm done. Like, no, it should not feel like that. You should not be on something that is so strict and so whatever that you don't feel like you have any freedom, that you're just waiting to get off of it. Because I guarantee you, as soon as you get off of it, you're just gonna go crazy. You're gonna like, ooh, what's next, you know? So definitely finding something that was sustainable for me was super, super important. Number 3 is changing my eating habits. Now, this one is clearly the most obvious. This is pretty much the reason that I've lost weight, is because I've changed my eating habits. For those who are not familiar with my story, I used to be a binge eater, and I would eat all the wrong foods. So I have completely changed that around. As far as how I changed my eating habits, I will say that I did start slow. I've tried before in the past to literally go from binging one day, eating maybe 4,000 calories, to completely like clean eating the next day, trying to limit myself to 1,000 calories. And doing it like that, it may work for some people, but it definitely did not work for me. Even before I had started Weight Watchers, I had started to limit basically my intake. So even with like fast food, like before, I would get, oh my gosh, I would basically get two meals for 2 grown adults and I would eat it in one setting. And so I kind of went from getting 2 meals to maybe like 1.5, and then I'd maybe do that for a while, and then going to an even smaller meal, like maybe just 1 meal for myself. And then at one point I was like trying to do kids meals and stuff, even just to kind of like, even though I was eating unhealthy, just scale it back just a little bit. And then basically what happened was I switched jobs. The job I was working before, I had an hour lunch break, and it was located right in the heart of like where everything is. So I would leave work, go to McDonald's, Cane's, Popeyes, anywhere, and I would have an hour to eat my food, and you know, I would pig out. And so then I switched jobs. I now work at a hospital, and I only have a 30-minute break. And so I realized that I don't have time to leave, and you know, my car is not, it's not like walking outside and your car is right there. I like have to go a long distance to get to my car. So basically I was like, okay, I need to start bringing my lunch. So your girl wasn't the best cook at the time, and I was like, all right, what can I do? Now we had a break room at work and had a microwave in it, and I was like, all right, why don't I start eating TV dinners and just see how that works out. So basically that's where all of that started from. I started bringing my own TV dinners to work, and I would leave them in the freezer there. I would warm them up, and that was all I would have for lunch. And like I said, this was before Weight Watchers. I would do that. And just if you guys care, the ones I started out with were Marie calendars. So then whenever I joined Weight Watchers, I kind of just carried that right on into it, and I started just tracking my TV dinners. Now when I first started, I was eating any kind of dinners I wanted, but they were super, super high in everything: sodium, calories, smart points, everything. So then I kind of tapered myself. So after I joined Weight Watchers, I was like, okay, I can still have my dinners, but let me try to get ones that have a little bit less calories in them. So I did that, and that worked for me for a while. And then it got to the point where, okay, my points are dropping, I need a little bit less than this. So I actually completely changed the brand that I was using, and I went from Marie calendars to now Lean Cuisine. Now this is something that I'm actually still eating to this day, but I am kind of feeling a little pressure from myself, like, all right, it's time to kind of give up the dinners, and you know, like I need to start making more of my own meals. I need to lower my caloric intake. So basically all of that to say that changing my eating habits is definitely what has prompted my weight loss. All right, so number 4 is preparation. For me, preparation is so important. Literally, I have this quote that I tell everybody, like I'm always saying this: if you don't plan to succeed, you are setting yourself up to fail. Literally, when I tell you, you can have all the knowledge in the world, you can know what you have to do to lose weight. If you don't write it down and if you don't set a plan for yourself, you're not gonna follow through with it. So what preparation for me means is to actually write down and set aside time to plan. What are you gonna do? What are we doing for this week? I work a 7 on, 7 off day schedule, so my weeks are literal blocks of 7 days at a time. And so basically what I do for the day before I go into a 7, I write down everything I want to eat. Like, okay, what are we eating this week? You know, what are we doing? And then from that, I will go ahead and get my grocery list. Going into my week with a plan that has already been set out for me and planned for me is so much more helpful, because it allows me to be prepared basically. And you know, whenever you're hungry, I've learned that when I get hungry, you know, my entire mood changes. And if I don't have food already there ready for me, like it's so easy to make those decisions like, okay, well, let me just go eat out. And that's where people get in trouble. Planning and preparing my meals is super, super important, because when it comes down to it and you've been at work for a long day and you're hungry, or you just got home and you're hungry, you want to already know, okay, I have this set aside for me. I've already planned this out. I already know what I'm doing. I already have everything I need at home or in my lunchbox or wherever, so that you can just follow through with that plan. So number 5 is consistency. Now, I know, as cliche as this may sound, consistency is so key. This for me was my number 1 problem back when I was overweight, because I would do all of these diets and I would try all these different things here and there, but I just would not be consistent with anything. I literally would never follow through, and I would always quit before I would even give it a chance to work. Guys, no matter what program you're doing, if it's Weight Watchers, keto, whatever, you have to be consistent with it. You have to give it time to work. Like, if you mess up today, okay, like, it's over with. You cannot get that moment back. So move on and be consistent, get back on track. Like, do not mess up and just think the world is over, because that's what I used to do, and let me tell you, that never worked. If you find yourself constantly saying like, I'm tired of starting back over, then don't quit. Like, that may sound a little harsh, but if you're tired of starting over, then don't quit. Going back to my second point, for me, whenever I found a program that was sustainable, it was a little bit easier for me to be consistent with it. Because when I tell you, like, if I was doing something where I had to eat broccoli and chicken every single day, it probably would have been a lot harder to be consistent. But because I'm in a program that is sustainable for me, consistency comes easy, because I'm not starving, I'm not deprived, I'm not stressed out about it. But like I said, regardless of whatever program you are doing, just be consistent at it. Number 6 is getting more sleep. Now, this one may seem like a weird weight loss tip, but you guys, I don't know why, but I used to fight my sleep so bad, like ridiculously bad back in the day. Just to give you guys an example, my last job, it was 8 to 5. And when I tell y'all, I would fight my sleep and I would go to sleep around 2 to 3 in the morning, knowing I had to be up for 6 in order to get to work for 8. And because of that, I was late every single day. And literally, it wasn't like I was doing anything productive. I was just scrolling on my phone, wasting time, like fighting my sleep, because I would feel that I would be sleepy, but I would just ignore it and continue to scroll and watch videos and all this and that, and I wouldn't be worth anything the next day. When I tell you now, I have completely done, is it a 180? A 180, and I've completely turned into a different person. I am now the girl who, I will fight you over my sleep, like not really, but I'm very protective over my sleep. I cherish my sleep. Like, my name is Justyn, and I need at least 8 hours of sleep in order to fully function. Like, I am that girl now. I cherish it. I plan my day around it. Like, if there's something that somebody wants to do and it's gonna cut into my 8 hours of sleep, it's not happening. So you may be wondering, yeah, sleep is great and everything, but what does it have to do with weight loss? So I'm gonna tell you. Now, I don't know about any of the like scientific reasons why and stuff, but from my experience, me getting more sleep, it actually gives me more energy, and it makes me feel more regulated, and it kind of refreshes me, and it puts me in a better mood for the day. It's like a reset. Like, that's what sleep is. It's supposed to like reset you for the next day. Before, I would wake up feeling so groggy and irritated and pissed off because I didn't get enough sleep, and now I just wake up like productive and ready for the day, and like, okay, I've been reset, I've done what I needed to do, now I can go through my day. And honestly, like, when you sleep well, like, you make better decisions during the day. So that's, for me, that's how it kind of relates back to weight loss, because before, whenever I wasn't getting enough sleep, I also wasn't preparing enough, and so whenever it was time to eat, I didn't have anything there. Once I've gotten enough sleep, I'm able to definitely make better choices and decisions, and I'm able to pick an apple instead of a piece of cake. I'm able to like kind of be in a sound mind, and I'm able to like remember my goals and why I'm doing this in the first place, versus like when you're sleepy and when you're tired. You know, I remember I would be at work and I would basically be like half functioning. I would be going through the motions, but I would be so tired and so just out of it. It also like helps me to see more positive than negative, because I know for me, whenever I'm sleepy and I'm groggy, it's so easy for me to just kind of go in with like such a negative attitude and a negative aspect on life. But whenever I've had a full night's rest, like, it's like everything is like cupcakes and flowers, and I'm just playing, but it's a lot easier to see like the good and stuff instead of the bad all the time. So indirectly, that's how, for me, getting more sleep has helped me to lose weight. So tip number 7 is to be patient. For me, what I have to say about this is that I didn't get to the weight I was overnight. You know, that was years of treating my body like crap, not doing what I was supposed to be doing, and being lazy, and just all the wrong things. My body got like that over years of basically mistreating it. So you can't expect to like make a couple quick changes and for your body to return to normal or to lose weight or to whatever you're trying to do. I've really learned to be patient, and I've kind of adopted the mindset like, you know what is my alternative? Like, I've seen some people like come to me and ask me like, I want to lose weight but I'm so impatient and I don't want to wait for it, I'm this and that. And I'm like, okay, but what's the alternative? Are you gonna stay where you're at? You know, like, I want to lose weight but I'm not patient enough, so instead of losing weight I'm gonna eat whatever I want. Like, okay, but you're gonna stay where you're at. So like, I don't know, it's kind of, now I'm able to see it more clearly, and I'm able to be like, okay, obviously just be patient about it and eventually it'll come. But in the moment, I know, you know, when people are trying to lose weight, they want like instant results, instant everything, and it doesn't always work like that. I'm here to tell you that if you do everything you're supposed to do, eventually you're gonna see results. Now that may not be on your time, it may not be like in 2 days like you want it to be, but eventually you will see results. So why stress yourself out through waiting? Because that may actually have a negative effect and make you gain more weight or whatever. So just be patient. So number 8 is to love yourself. Now this one may sound a little cheesy and like, what? But I did not understand what people would say when they would say to love yourself. I would be sitting down and watching videos like this all the time before I started losing weight, and I would always hear people say, you know, to love yourself, and I really didn't understand what they meant, because for me, I'm like, back then, I look at the mirror and I hate myself. I hate the way I look. I don't like who I am. So how can I love myself in order to change? Like, no, I want to change so I can love myself. You know, I thought people were saying it the wrong way. But basically what I found out just by thinking about it was, you have to love yourself enough to want to change. You have to put yourself first in order to change. And really, like, it's something like, it kind of has to click in your brain, because I would always hear people say love myself. Like, I probably heard that 100 times before I actually understood what people meant by love yourself. You have to care enough about you, about the person inside, about the future person that may be in there that's like 100 pounds smaller, that's waiting to come out. You have to care enough about that person to want to change and want to be consistent with it and stuff. For all my moms out there, I have a lot of moms that watch me, you have to put yourself first in order to be better for your children. And that goes for anybody out there, for wives, husbands, caretakers, moms, dad, like anybody out there. Like, if you're taking care of other people and you're the, you know, I hear a lot of people say like, I take care of so many people that I don't have time to take care of myself. You literally have to, you have to take care of yourself in order to be any good for somebody else. And for me, I'm not in that situation. Like, I don't have dependents or anything, but for me, I was like, I have to give it to the Justyn I want to be in order to change and love her enough to change myself, and then I will eventually love myself. So they're not necessarily talking about physically loving yourself. You don't have to love what you see in the mirror, but you have to love yourself enough to give yourself a shot to get to the person you want to be. I hope that makes sense, but love yourself. Number 9 is finding self-discipline. Now, the question I probably get asked the most is, how do I stay motivated? And my answer is always, I don't. Honestly, I think I'm gonna make a video just about this, because so many people have it twisted, including myself. I had it twisted for so long, and you look on Instagram and you see all these things that motivate you and stuff, and then maybe the next day when it comes time for you to, you know, eat that salad, you're not motivated anymore, and you're feeling like something's wrong with you, because why am I not motivated? You guys, motivation is temporary. It's a temporary feeling, just like being happy, just like being sad. Nobody on this planet stays motivated forever. Even the most like amazing fitness model people, like, they are not always motivated to go to the gym. After I figured that out, I started learning about self-discipline. Self-discipline is what comes in once motivation is gone. You have to discipline yourself to do it anyway. You know, sometimes when I wake up, the first thing I want to do is not like shove a toothbrush in my mouth because I just woke up. Like, you know, that's an uncomfortable feeling. But because I've been doing that, because I've been trained to do that for the last 23 years, I know that the first thing you do when you wake up is you brush your teeth. You kind of have to like train yourself, and you have to self-discipline yourself to do it anyway, even after motivation. Motivation is good and it's important. You know, you want to feel motivated in order to lose weight and do what you need to do. But you have to have a plan B whenever motivation leaves, because I guarantee you it will leave. Nobody stays motivated forever. So like I said, I am gonna make a video just on that in the future, because I think a lot of people need to know about self-discipline and all that. But self-discipline for me was definitely key with losing this weight. So my last and final tip is don't overthink or obsess over it. Just let it happen. Now this is something that I used to be really bad at back in the day. I pretty much would obsess over my weight loss, and I would be thinking about the wrong things, like worried about the wrong things and not doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that pretty much got me nowhere. So I was the type, I was on my scale every single day. I used to weigh myself every single day and track it down. And it's kind of funny because I remember back when I used to do it, I would think to myself like, I know it sounds like it's bad. I know it sounds as bad that I weigh myself every day, but you know, I don't have a problem, you know, like I'm in control. I could stop any day if I wanted to, but now me looking back at it, like I had a problem and it wasn't good. I was way too obsessed with what the scale said. I would set really unrealistic goals for myself and try to like strategize my way to get there. Like for example, I would, this is so stupid, but back in the day, I would have a spreadsheet on my computer, and I would put in my weight I am now, and then I would basically drag it down to like, if I lose a pound a day for like 2 months, like if I lose a pound a day for 2 months, then by this day, like I'll be able to fit into this dress that I wore 2 years ago when I was back at that weight. Like I would obsess over it, and I was worried about the wrong thing. And it's funny because this whole time I would be doing all of that, I wouldn't be losing any weight. Now I've learned that although yes, weight loss can be kind of complicated, well not really complicated, but more so complex, it's also very simple at the same time. How do you lose weight? What's the secret? Okay, I'm a little bit closer. You eat right and you exercise. Boom, that's it. Although for me, I've lost this first 50 pounds without exercising. But to simplify it more so, you have to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose weight. You have to be intaking less than you are outtaking or outputting. Basically consuming less than the energy that you're giving out, and you will lose weight. That's how simple it is. But for some reason we like to tend to make it a lot more harder in our brains and just overthink it way too much. Now because I know this and I'm aware of this, I just allow it to happen, and I kind of have faith in myself, in my own body, that I know that if I do everything I'm supposed to do, eventually, not on my time, eventually I will see results, and it will come off and it will pay off for me. And so because of that, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about being patient. Because I know what I know, and I know eventually it will happen for me, I don't stress over it. I try now not to overthink or obsess over it, because I know like it's gonna happen eventually. So why put myself through all that unnecessary stress and all this stuff when, you know, it's gonna happen regardless. So just let it happen. Just breathe, do what you gotta do, and it'll happen. There was a quote that actually the WW Instagram page posted the other day, and I thought it was so powerful, and I completely agree with it. And so I'm gonna read it here for you guys. Focus on results and you'll never see change, but focus on change and then you'll see results. Just let that sink in, you guys. So that concludes the last of those tips. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I tried to put as much information into it as I can. I will of course be making lots of other videos in the future, but those are definitely, for me, for the first 50 pounds that I've lost, those are definitely like my key my key lifestyle changes that I've made that have made me successful with losing this weight. So I told my Instagram people that I was going to be filming this video, and I actually allowed them to ask me questions because I was gonna try to put a little Q&A at the end of this video, but I'm looking at the time right now and I can already see this is gonna be a longer video. So what I'm actually gonna do is go ahead and start recording a part 2 to this, just answering your guys' specific questions. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I will be probably posting it within maybe like 2 or 3 days after this one is posted. So yeah, so in case there's anything I missed or didn't really clarify too much in this video and the next one, make sure you guys reach out to me. I 100% don't mind answering anybody's questions. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on this journey, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys.